Back again with another review here, and tonight I'll be talking about reviewing The Mask of Zorro from 1998. Johnny Jerry recommended this, and it's a great movie, and it was great to rewatch again. And I'm like, man, whatever happened to fun movies like this? You know, crowd pleasers. It was directed by Martin Campbell. Now, prior to this, Martin Campbell had directed No Escape with the Ray Liotta, and that's a fun sci-fi movie that not a lot of people have heard of, but I recommend. GoldenEye, he directed that. Probably my favorite Bond movie. And then later on, directing Vertical Limit, which I can watch the film. I know some people out there don't really care much for the film, but I can watch it for the cast. He also directed Casino Royale, you know, Daniel Craig's debut as Bond, and that's a great Bond film. And he's still directing here and there. He directed The Foreigner with Jackie Chan, which I haven't seen, but I've heard about. He also directed The Protege, which came out the year before or last year. So Martin Campbell, he's still directing, you know, here and there. And I do enjoy Martin Campbell as a director. You know, he brings a lot of spectacle to his movies. And you could definitely see that back in the day with this film, you know, GoldenEye. Yeah, he brings a lot of, you know, spectacle with his direction. You know, big action set pieces and stuff. And, yeah, I do enjoy him as a director. Now, get into the plot of the film. So, you have the original Zorro in the film, played by Anthony Hopkins. And after being imprisoned for 20 years, he receives word that his old enemy, Don Raphael, who is played by Stuart Wilson, and I remember him, he was the villain in Ninja Turtles 3. And in fact, he would work with the director quite a bit and other stuff. But Anthony Hopkins, he escapes and returns to his hideout where, you know, he trains this bandit, Alejandro, played by Antonio Banderas, to be a successor, to be the new Zorro. And meanwhile, the villain, Stuart Wilson's character, has been secretly raising Anthony Hopkins' daughter in the film, played by Catherine Zeta-Jones. And you find out more about his plan to take over and rob California of its gold. And that's the plot here to this film. By the cast here, Antonio Banderas does a great job as the main character. Brings a lot of charm and charisma and presence to the role. He's entertaining to watch, and I just love him in this movie. You know, Anthony Hopkins is great actor, and definitely brings star power to this film. You know, Catherine Zeta-Jones as Elena, the daughter of Anthony Hopkins. You know, she was great in the film. Stuart Wilson, you know, I mentioned him real quick. He plays the villain here of Don Raphael. And this guy's played a villain in every other movie in the 90s. You know, Lethal Weapon 3, he was the villain. No Escape, which Martin Campbell also directed. I would say, out of the villains he's played, his villain in No Escape is insane. You know, if you haven't seen that, I mention that again. Go watch No Escape. But the same villain in this, Don Raphael, he was the villain in that film. And he's crazier in that film. You know, like chopping off heads and stuff. But, yeah, Stuart Wilson's great. You know, L.Q. Jones as Three Finger Jack. You know, in the beginning where they have his character, he's bringing, you know, Antonio Banderas and his brother. And I remember that little tune at the beginning. You know, nobody's tough as Jack. Nobody's tough as Jack. But L.Q. Jones, you've seen in a lot of films. Unfortunately, he's passed away. I think he passed away earlier this year. But he was good for what he had. I mean, yeah, he also had the character of Captain Love, who's played by Matt Lesher. I don't know what else he's been in, but I thought he was good too in the film. And he played a good villain. So good cast. I really enjoyed the cast here. But what I really enjoyed here about this movie And I wrote a few things down here. One, the acting all around. The cast here is great. Everybody from Antonio Banderas, who brings, again, a lot of charm and charisma and presence to the role. He's entertaining to watch. Anthony Hopkins brings star power. Catherine Zeta-Jones, she was beautiful in the movie. I thought some of the scenes between her and Antonio Banderas, it was fun to watch. Stuart Wilson was a fun villain. And even the guy that played, Captain Love, he was good. So everybody does great in the acting. The action scenes, there's a lot of great action scenes in the film. A lot of great, swashbuckling type of action, especially when you get to the finale, the third act of the film at the mines. Just a lot of fun to watch. Some great swordplay, which I think Antonio Banderas, he did a lot of the stunts here, and I tip my hat to Antonio Banderas for pulling off a lot of the stunt work and so forth. But again, a lot of great action, some great swashbuckling. Also it's beautifully directed by Martin Campbell. Again, Martin Campbell brings a lot of great spectacle to his movies, and everything feels big, in terms of the action, in terms of the scale. He brings a lot of great scale, big scale to his movies. So Martin Campbell does a beautiful job directing the score. I also mentioned the score by James Horner. Beautiful score here. And also, it's a great blend of every piece of genre. I mean, you got action, you got adventure, you got, the element of Western, you got a little bit of romance, and it's a great blend of everything that you want in a movie. And that's what those are some things that I really enjoy about the film, that between the acting and the action and the direction, the score, being a great blend of, every bit of genre, a little bit of comedy in there, a little bit of, revenge, because the character Captain Love, kills the brother of Antonio Banderas in the movie. We all remember, the scene where his brother's head is in the jar, and at that moment you're like, you want to, rip this guy's throat out, So, again, you have a little bit of everything in terms of, genre. So, those are some things that I really enjoyed about the film. But overall, The Mask of Zorro, it's a great 90s movie that for me still holds up well, with a great cast, great direction from Martin Campbell, great action sequences, great blend of different genres here, with a good score and a great song at the end. I forgot who provided the song, but when the credits hit, that song at the end I really enjoy, and it's a classic. It's a classic of the 90s. So, yeah, The Mask of Zorro, great movie. And thank you, Johnny Jerry, for recommending that. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.